Howdy folks, hope you're all having a great weekend, and as a result of yesterday's technical difficulties where I had to do a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 video on a Friday, you're getting World of Warships today, on Saturday. No need to thank me. Honestly, I'm sorry about yesterday. Anyway, what do we have here? Well, North American server, hence the 9 ships per side in this domination battle on the Tiers of the Cruisers map. Lower population server, so this sort of thing isn't unusual. It's not completely out of the question for you to have matches where you don't actually have the full 12 ships per team. Fortunately, even though this is the Tiers of the Cruisers map, Hartini Menry here, I see what you did there. It's not funny if I have to explain it. Well, actually, it's not funny at all. It's just amusing. Anyway, Hartini Menry here is not in a cruiser. He's in the Polish Tier 10 destroyer, the Gdansk, named after the Polish shipyard, where the Solidarity Trade Union kicked off the secession of Poland from the Warsaw Pact in the 1970s, 80s, when I was a kid, anyway. As far as the matchmaking is concerned, Hartini's team do actually have a fairly significant advantage, because on paper there are no carriers in this match. 3 destroyers per side, so he's going to have to be careful approaching the cap circles, especially given the Gdansk's absolutely awful stealth, but at least no aircraft carriers. Except, of course, the World of Warships matchmaker has given his team 2 hybrids. The Hildebrand, the Tier 10 cruiser hybrid, and the Louisiana, the Tier 10 battleship hybrid. So his team actually have 2 aircraft carriers and the enemy team have none. Because dividing by 2 is hard, isn't it, Wargaming? How do you divide 2 by 2? I mean, that's just next level mathematics. Yeah. Anyway. So, bearing in mind that both teams do have 3 destroyers and there are 3 cap circles, there is an excellent chance that control of cap circle Charlie here is going to be contested. And his stealth is 7.3 kilometers, which would be fairly bad for a cruiser. However, the choice of 3 cap circles here, he's gone for Charlie. It's probably the safest one if you're in something with stealth as bad as the Gdansk, because of this spit of land here that you can actually use to hide behind while you're in the cap circle. The enemy team, of course, are flipping Bravo, completely uncontested, and it certainly appears that Hartini is being allowed to take Charlie completely uncontested as well. So no enemy destroyers down here, at least not yet. I mean, the Gdansk is fairly fast, but there's been plenty of time for an enemy destroyer to get down here by now, and they haven't. 1 enemy destroyer has flipped the central cap at Bravo. Only 1 enemy destroyer has been spotted, and that's up in the northwest at the cap circle at Alpha. There's a Halland in there, as well as an Archerfish submarine that's been spotted, which is perilously dangerous news for the friendly Shimakaze, who is attempting to contest the cap circle at Alpha, because there's a Stalingrad up there, which is of course a radar cruiser, and that's really, really dangerous. Matters are not helped by the fact that well, aside from the friendly submarine, which isn't really going to be capable of providing an awful lot of direct help, the Shimakaze, who's already lost a fair chunk of his health attempting to contest that cap circle, his only real support up there consists of the friendly Hildebrand and the friendly Mecklenburg, and unfortunately for the Shimakaze, neither of those 2 guys are any use whatsoever to the team alive. How can you say that, Jingles? Well, 1, I've already watched this battle all the way through to the end, so yeah. But aside from that, a fairly good indication that neither of those 2 guys are even capable of thinking and breathing at the same time. Well, remember the Halland? The enemy destroyer that's flipped that cap up there with the Archerfish. There he is, he's just popped back up. Now, he was detected for at least 30 seconds earlier. He's just been detected again. Look at how much damage between them, the Mecklenburg and the Hildebrand, have done to him. I'll save you the trouble of pausing the video and zooming in and squinting at the screen. They've done fuck all. Absolutely nothing. The Shimakaze, doing his best but under heavy pressure and basically getting no support at all, has been forced out of the cap circle. So the enemy team now control 2 of the caps, Alpha and Bravo. Hartini here has taken Charlie. and he's about to slip into Bravo. Now remember, 3 destroyers per team. We've only seen 1. The Halland up to the northwest in Cap Circle Alpha, who has once again gone undetected, and I wouldn't be surprised if he still hasn't taken any damage. But those were 2 extremely suspicious looking smoke screens just on the other side of those islands. So it is likely that at least one of the other 2 enemy destroyers is... Yep, there we go, Z-52. Oh, and the Hildebrand just got his ass nuked by the enemy Shimakaze. While he was competing with the Mecklenburg to see who could run away the fastest. And it looks like the Mecklenburg's just run himself aground. I'm not entirely sure why, but hey, let's be generous and say it was because he was dodging torpedoes and not that he was trying to think and breathe at the same time and momentarily passed out due to lack of oxygen. Meanwhile, Hartini here, despite his shockingly bad stealth, is in fact about to flip this central cap at Bravo. Which is nice. Trying to get some torpedoes out on the enemy Stalingrad there. Although the friendly Shimakaze no longer wants anything to do with that cap circle, which is 100% understandable. Ah! The friendly Koshiro just took out the Z-52. Okay, so both teams have suffered 1 casualty. And thanks entirely to Hartini Menri here, his team now have 2 of the 3 cap circles. It looks like you got a couple of torpedoes on the enemy defence. Not enough to sink it, and it's attempting to get out of there. It's using the heel, but it just got out-damaged and outgunned by the friendly Lushan, so they're now actually comfortably ahead on... Yeah, the point scores are reversed. Of course they are. It's a World of Warships replay. The second set of torpedoes missed the Stalingrad, but with the defence taken out, and the Stalingrad's guns pointing elsewhere, this is almost completely threat-free. And aside from the absolutely terrible stealth, one of the other light cruiser-ish characteristics of the Gdansk is its guns. These are actually French 139mm guns, and she has 7 of them, with a sub 4 second reload. The firepower is actually pretty impressive. The Gdansk is actually a pretty all-round good cruiser. Freudian slip there. I mean, it basically is a cruiser. An all-round good destroyer. Not without some drawbacks, though. I mean, we've already mentioned the absolutely terrible 7.3 km stealth here. And while the guns are very, very good, they do have a kind of slow turret rotation speed. Her mobility is very good. She'll get like more than 46 knots with the Sierra Mike flag and the speed boost until she tries to turn. She's got a horrible, horrible rudder shift and a huge turning circle. Also, you might have noticed the Gdansk only has the 1 ammunition choice, high explosive, which isn't terrible. It's just that, well, 139mm armour piercing, especially against an enemy cruiser, would be really good, but you just don't get that option. There is a 10% chance of fire on target with the high explosive shells though, so that's fairly nice. And finally, similar to a lot of the other European destroyers, Gdansk gets radar. Oh, the Halland just... I mean, I suppose it was fairly inevitable, but the enemy Halland did just finally sink the friendly Shimakaze. Hartini's there in chat, trying to figure out exactly where that Shimakaze is, asking which direction the Shimakaze torpedoes came from. And then suddenly the question kind of answers itself, because somebody is flipping the cap circle at Charlie. And it wasn't the Halland, because he's up there having just gunned down the friendly Shimakaze. So that's the enemy Shimakaze in the cap circle at Charlie. Which is great timing, actually, because we were about to start talking about the Gdansk's radar. Note, by the way, that the Louisiana is also sending dive bombers over there to try to spot that Shimakaze. But here's the thing. We know that the Shimakaze is within 7.3 kilometres because Hartini is spotted, and that's his detection range. The radar on the Gdansk has a 9-kilometre range. The trick here, though, is that because it only lasts 10 seconds, you have to time the use of the radar to perfection. Because even with a sub 4 second reload on these 139mm guns, you're only going to get a couple of salvos off before the radar expires. And the Shimakaze was playing it smart. He wasn't shooting back, because he would have only had to wait 10 seconds before going undetected. Thankfully, however, and I really do have to give a metaphorical tip of the hat to the Louisiana player here, he had his dive bombers overhead, which forced the Shimakaze to pop his smoke. Now, while the Gdansk is pretty damn fast in a straight line, it's never going to catch a Shimakaze unless he's got the engine boost running and he's not manoeuvring. And you don't want to be sailing in a straight line when you're chasing a Shimakaze. The question is... Oh, there we go. Question answered. So there's only one reason the Shimakaze would do that. He's just popped out to reacquire a target and launch torpedoes. And then he's back into the smoke screen. But the Shimakaze has miscalculated. Because he doesn't know, and to be fair to him, there's no real reason why he would, that while the Gdansk's radar might only have a 10-second duration, it also only has a 55-second cooldown. Which means, yeah, you're a dead man. And there he goes. So, an extremely valuable kill, because not only is the Shimakaze an excellent destroyer, but that Shimakaze player, in this battle at least, best player on the enemy team. Although the enemy Archerfish has a surprisingly good result as well. Meanwhile, the Halland, once again detected and just took out the friendly submarine. Was it the U-4501? I can't remember. Doesn't really matter. So another exchange of kills, with Hartini Menri's team lagging behind by 1 kill. But critically, the kill on the Shimakaze prevented him from flipping the cap at Charlie. So his team do still have that 1 cap advantage. And the points are basically neck and neck. So as Martini closes into what looks like defend the cap circle at Bravo, I'd just like you to take a look at the minimap down to the south and note the position of the friendly Mecklenburg. We'll come back to the Mecklenburg later. Meanwhile, Stalingrad and Montana up ahead. Looks like the Louisiana dive bombers are going for the Montana. And the Montana is the one who's about to put pressure on the central cap at Bravo. So, torpedoes away. He's going to angle away in case he has to get out of here quick. Slow down. Pop smoke. And then start farming. Because he has to prevent the Montana. I mean, he can't prevent the Montana from contesting the central cap. But hopefully, he can prevent him from taking it. Torpedoes are looking good. There it is. A couple of torpedo hits. A fire. 2 fires. Okay, the team have just lost the Lushan, but I'm kind of focusing on this Montana here, and I'm asking myself the question, why the hell isn't this guy using his damage control? Because he's got a flood and 2 fires. And we know the damage control is not on cooldown, because it's only just appeared. But he's quite content to just flood and burn. Now the Louisiana's on his flank, and does the Louisiana remember that it has guns? You know, it's not just an aircraft carrier. Because the Montana's certainly focusing down the Louisiana. And it looks like the Louisiana is swinging its guns around. It is. Yep. Which was why, of course, the Montana was swinging himself around, because he saw the Louisiana pointing his guns at him and thought, oh, I probably need to turn to angle against those, but, well, day late and a dollar short. So good job, Louisiana. Now for the Stalingrad. Now remember, the Stalingrad has radar, and this smoke isn't going to last forever anyway. So hopefully the Stalingrad has something other than Hartini Menri here to shoot at. And it looks like he does. So it's open season on the Stalingrad. Again, more shots coming in from the Louisiana. Some very, very good shots coming in from the Louisiana. Wow, look at that. A hybrid battleship player who remembers the battleship part of the hybrid battleship equation. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately for Hartini Menri, I don't know what the hell the Stalingrad thinks he's doing. He's just charging straight into a crossfire. And the Stalingrad's a tough cruiser, but it's not that tough. So, cap successfully defended. Kill number 3. Oh, actually, that's only his 2nd kill. What's going on? Now, he's still spotted, and the Kremlin was outside a shooting range. Yeah, that's right, Halland. I mean, fairly obvious, somebody was still inside that cap circle. Now, the question is, does the Halland fancy his chances in a gunfight? Because the Halland is a very capable gunboat. And it doesn't look like, yeah, smart move from the Halland. He would rather take the cap. So he's not shooting back. He's probably launched torpedoes, which is, of course, exactly why Hartini Menry is ducking in behind the spit of land there on that island to put himself out of line of fire of any torpedoes that the Halland might have launched. This does, of course, mean that they've all gone undetected. Oh, there's the high caliber award. So, could somebody, anybody, maybe the Louisiana? I mean, we're asking a lot, I know. But you do have aircraft. No? Okay, we'll do it ourselves. Kremlin's now inside shooting range. Radar's available, still has 3 charges. Hydro would be nice, because I'm fairly sure... Yeah, there he is. The Halland is, of course, still there, revealed by radar. But remember, only for 10 seconds. Fairly sure that the Halland has launched torpedoes. But, well... wish for hydro in one hand, shit in the other, and see which one fills up first. Would you believe that's the first time in this battle Hartini has actually taken any damage? I know. Well, the Halland survives again. I'm pretty sure, yes, he is still in the cap circle. And the Louisiana, you know, again, the Louisiana doing a good job. He's using the guns when he needs to. He's using the aircraft when he needs to. I don't really want to say anything bad about the Louisiana captain. Yet. But between the two of them, they are doing a bang-up great job of defending that cap circle. However, while all of this is going on, have a look down to the southeast. Somebody's flipping the cap circle at Charlie, and has been doing it for quite some time. What is our friend the Mecklenburg doing about it? Because it has to be the Archerfish, the submarine. The Mecklenburg was literally meters away from the border of the cap circle at Charlie, and the second he saw it was being flipped, he went full steam ahead, and rather than trying to contest the cap, he's just steaming the hell away from it. And there it goes. The cap at Charlie has now been taken by the Archerfish, a submarine on the surface that a secondary battleship ran away from. And he ain't done running away yet. Throughout the remainder of this battle, I want you to just try to keep one eye on the minimap and watch what that Mecklenburg does and where he ends up. Because it's... It gives me the rage. It really, really does. Meanwhile, Hartini Menry continuing to rain down death and destruction on the Kremlin there, who's desperately trying to hide and get some kind of cover behind the island there. But, well, the ballistics of these 139mm shells just make it impossible. He's now, as well as the high caliber, he's got the Confederate and the Witherer award. Torpedoes there from the Halland. Unfortunately, the Louisiana is going to eat a couple of those. Not enough to sink him, though. That's the important thing. There goes the radar. No sign of the Halland. So the Halland has learned his lesson, and he's more than 9 kilometres away. Of course he has. He's not stupid. There's no longer any reason for him and the Kremlin to hang around because they have taken the central cap. The enemy team now have all 3 of the cap circles. But they're not going to hold on to Bravo for long unless the Halland comes back to defend it, because the Kremlin just went down to the fires that Hartini set, which means it is no longer contesting this central cap, and Hartini is about to flip it. Meanwhile, Hartini is asking a very, very good question. Mecklenburg, look at where he is. Look at where he's going. What the hell are you doing? I'm assuming he's breathing, which means he can't possibly be thinking. So, let's just forget about the Mecklenburg. This is basically down to Hartini here and the Louisiana. We know there's an Archerfish that was down in the cap circle at Charlie. We also know that there's a Halland. There he is, within 7.3 kilometres. So, we can see the Halland. We know where he is. And even though he's about to go undetected, we know where he is going. The Halland, again, managed to go undetected, but we saw which way he went. And he probably only got spotted in the first place because he was lining up torpedoes. So again, Hartini manoeuvring, because obvious torpedoes are kind of obvious. He's asking the Louisiana to head for the cap circle at Alpha. It is at this point where the Louisiana, who up until now has been playing a good game, suffers from a sudden rush of shit to the brain, because not only did he not head to the cap circle at Alpha, and he would have been about 30 seconds away from getting in there by now if he had, but he also sent his dive bombers up there, where there are no enemies. He's only now turning the dive bombers around, because he's the only one who can actually spot the Halland, who is in line of sight and within 7.3 kilometres. Oh, this is going to be tight. Oh, look away. Oh, that was close. Those scraped paint. The Mecklenburg is like 20 kilometres to the northeast trying to escape into the next map. And the Louisiana has at least finally figured out his left from his right and is sending the aircraft in the correct direction. But with 5 seconds to go, look at the scores. You have got to be shitting me. Nobody's ever accused World Warships of being a simulator. It is an unapologetically arcade naval battle game. But it is true to life in one regard. You can play the game of your life, and it won't matter, because the only thing that people will remember is how you fucked it up. And that Louisiana... Oh my God. Heartini, mate. Go and have a lie down. You did all you could. It's not your fault. And on that bombshell, that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed it. And as always, take care. And I'll catch you next time.